Greetings, and here I am again with yet another video for you to watch, get bored of, or whatever. So today I thought I would have a look at the GWE. The GWE, the classic Train Sim World route, which was originally released on Train Sim World back in the day, still surviving to this very day on Train Sim World 3, which I recently downloaded. I've been on this route a couple of times since I downloaded it, but only using the 66. So I thought today I'd have a quick run on the HST to see if there's. I don't think there's much differences anyway, but I thought I'd have a look. I've not had a chance to have a fly through the Berkshire and Berkshire countryside, so I thought I'd try. So here I am in Londonia, the capital city of England. For anyone who don't know, I see we've still got that right. You're in the cab, so there you go. It's jumped straight in. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Because I hate this having to you lose time just by because you're jumping in the cab. They still haven't sorted this, giving us a few seconds to sort the train out. And also, come on, DTG, when are we having an option where safety systems are armed when you get in the train? I mean, come on, because you've still not done it, and come on, you know what I mean? Come on, it's about time. It's been asked for. I've been asking for this for ages. So I'm going to go on foot. The only difference with going on foot is I don't know how big the train's going to be, because obviously we can get 2+6, 2+7s, 2+8 trains. So I'm going to go to the other side, London. Although if I'd kept going, I would have gone back to London. But there you go, London Paddington at 10:25. That gives me enough time to get back onto that train that I've just done. I'm going to keep the dynamic weather on. Today's 29th. It is clear, 14.4, which I think is about right. So let's load that up. It's a lovely picture, that is. Really, really good. Oh, can that 166? You see that 166 then, all mangled up? Right, what train do I need? I think it's this one, look. Let's have a look. 10:30 to Bristol Temple Meads. That formed of 9 coaches? I don't think it is. Oh, interesting number. 1, 2, 3. Busy. 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 9 vehicles, and they've all no 43 numbers. So there we go. Look, 10:30 to Bristol Temple Meads. I like the fact that the NTI. Oh, look, second train. They're 15:45 from Morton in Marsh. Okay. Right. Anyway, such is life. So let's get in. Here's our cab for the day. I'm going to sort out the safety systems while I'm here. So if you want the safety systems on, you need to turn on your vigilance. You can do this from the driver's seat, by the way. I'm just doing it from here because you can see it closer. And then your AWS is on. You don't need nothing else. Thought I'd have a look around while I'm here. So these are the general things you can mess around with. There you go. There's all your bits and pieces. I'll set all them up in a minute. The lights are all over there. And you've got your gauge dimmer, which I'm going to put up because I'll put it up anyway. You've got engine controls. You've got the buzzer. Obviously, that's for when the guards buzz in the driver that the doors are all locked and ready to go. Right, let's get in the driver's seat. Oh, shall we? Oh, go on then. Lovely. Now we can leave on time, look. So let's get everything set up. Doors, let's get doors open. Y for doors. 168 move. 166 departing. Master key. Engine. The AWS tone because you've got all the safety systems on. Absolutely perfect. Let's drop the brake down, ready for a swift departure. Headlights. Put day headlights on. Yep. That's it. You just got to wait time now. Have a quick look at the train. Lovely. I love the texture detail, you know, having the higher quality texture detail. I mean, this is an old route as well, isn't it? Although they did some improvements, didn't they, did some improvements at the beginning of the year with this route, and it really does show. So, yeah. TGS, can you open that door? I love the noise of the suspension of the Mark III's. Really good. Alright, let's get in. Let's get ourselves ready. Let's get them doors shut. Should be shut now. Yeah. It's a shame there's no clock in here. Can't see. What clock is there? I can't see a clock. There we go. There's everything we need to know. Right, I'm going to put my pad down because I don't tend to use the pad to drive. I use the keyboard quite a bit. There we go. Let's get that brake off. Get some power on. There we go. Now, if anyone noticed the other day, I did a video of Class 45 Stroke 1 on this route. I brought the end. You can go and view that on YouTube. It was only a couple of videos ago. I brought a 45 off Old Oak, covered it up to the train, then took the train to Penzance. Penzance. I didn't take it to Penzance. Took it. I wish. Took it to Reading. mph along this stretch as we go through Royal Oak. It's a slight climb coming out of Paddington. Those of you who are relatively new to train sim world or in railways in general, really, you don't necessarily have to be new to train sim world, but if you need a bit more explanation of what all the different things are on the track. So obviously we have signals. Safety systems can include TPWS, which is train protection warning system. AWS is automatic warning system. You've got your DSD vigilance, which is driver safety device vigilance, which basically is there to basically tell the train that there's a driver in the cab driving. These arrows here, that there to the left, is what they call a PRI, so it's a route indicator to basically tell you that your route's set. Let's open up a bit now, open up to 50. That your route's set to go up straight up the fast. So we're currently on the down fast at the moment. Or one line, should I say. It doesn't really become the down fast until it gets past Old Oak, really. So the AWS, the automatic warning system, is a safety system which basically gives you an indication Sorry about that. I need to turn that off. My voice control came on. I need to turn that off. I don't need it. Yeah, so going back, so the AWS is a safety system that's used to kind of give you an audible and visual notification of what the aspect could be. So the chime, so you can hear that little bing, that's to denote that the signal is green, and that circle there with the black cross through it is a banner repeater. And if it's, so it comes in three forms basically. You can have it horizontal band, that means the signal is a red coming up. You can have it white with a like that one, but with a but white, so that was green direction band, that is the signal's clear. And if you've got a green one, it means the signal's green. However, on certain routes they don't have green banner repeaters, they are still white, so you could still be a green signal, but it might just be showing a white banner repeater. Just in case you think that if you see that it's a yellow, it's not. It's just because some parts of the country don't have green. The green banner repeater is relatively new. The first one ever fitted was on the Up Fast at Norton Bridge, just for which is Staffordshire. I'll just tip that. I'll just throw that little tip out for you. So just going past Oldham, coming to the right, lines of Greenford just pulls off there to the right as well. The Chiltern Railways, the North Pole Depot is to the left, obviously where the Attache Depot is. As we start to approach Acton, accelerating nice and steadily with this 2+7. So 2+7 means you've got 2, which is the park car each end, and 7 coaches. That's how the formation of a HST in railway world is described as. So as far as the customers is concerned, there's 7 coaches. We should be, this is Acton Main Line to the right, and we are just going past Acton Yard, and there's a couple of trains and engines around. Look, TSW3's got a lot more populated, especially on what sort of device you've got. Just gone past the 125 mile an hour board. We're now 125 virtually all the way to Reading. I think you finally get to slow down to 95 just past Kennet Loop. That rapid beeping is your vigilance. So what that is, that goes off every 60 seconds if you haven't touched any controls. Basically that is the train asking if you're still alive. So 2 ways as a driver you can do it. You can constantly push it up and down to basically which is you manually telling the train that you don't need to keep going off, or you can wait every 60 seconds, it will start beeping, and you just lift your feet up. There's like a pedal on the ground. Sorry, I'm going ahead of myself. There's a pedal on the ground, you pull it up, you push it back down, and then that will cancel your vigilance. You're supposed to keep your foot down on that pedal. It's a deadman's pedal, and if you lift it off, it will start beeping at you. So that is the vigilance, DSD. So the pedal's called a DSD. The vigilance is the device which shouts at you when you take your foot off it. That's West Ealing. Sorry, the big station back there was Ealing Broadway. Coming up to Hanley Sidings to the right hand side. It's if you go there in modern day, it's normally full of 387s. Well, not so much in the middle of the day, of course. Not normally all out. So the big improvements that came to, I don't know if you saw my video about the improvements that I spotted. I did a bit of a review on this on the Facebook Train Sim World UK Routes and Trains Route, or UK Trains and Routes group, about the upgrades that we saw on the GWE when they re-released it quite a while ago, earlier in the year. The overhead wires are so much more cleaner and prominent. There's lots more infrastructure, lots more structure. They've built a lot more stanchions further up the line, which tells me they might try and electrify it all the way through, perhaps. And perhaps one day we might see an IET. Obviously, TSW, although obviously it doesn't inherit all the big things from TSW3, like the clouds, the new clouding. Unfortunately, that we're using the old clouding, but they still use the dynamic weather. So the weather, so the lighting, there's some light effects are on here, but the weather lighting effects aren't. So the cloud effects aren't. So we still got the dynamic weather. So there is yeah, so you can still basically go along, and then it could suddenly start raining or snowing or thunder or lightning or both. Checking the lifestyle, so we just went through Southall, freight train in Southall Yard. That's another new feature. TSW3 again, depends on what device you've got. I think I've tried to do it on a lot of all devices, but try and populate a lot more of the yards to make them look a bit more, well, make it more realistic, I guess. The only thing this route's really missing is obviously the modernised trains and the... So that horn is an ADUS notification to tell us that there is a warning for something. Now that can be an adverse signal, or in that case can be a PSR reminder board. So that reminder board is to remind us that we're approaching a 75 mile an hour speed, but it's to go towards the airport. So it's not actually for us. So there was an arrow, it's at 75, but looks like it says here, but obviously but it was going to the left to tell us that it's 75. So if you were coming along at speed and you were signalled to traverse across this line here, which is the airport line, you'd have to slow down for 75, and that's what that warning was, to warn you. Why it tells you when you're not going across it, I don't know. I was under the impression that those magnets should be suppressed, but for some reason they're not. Nice steady as we went through Hayes and Harlington. We're now approaching Airport Junction. All this obviously is new. We don't have any of the airport trains, unfortunately, but they're all 387s now anyway. So technically, if we get some Heathrow Express delivery 387s and Great Western 387s, you could actually create in a scenario your own your own modern day scenario. The only other issue was we don't have the IETs, but at the same time you could always take the 395. There is GWE deliveries available and creator content, and you can create a near, really. See that banner repeater there, that circle with the horizontal black line? It's because that signal there at the end of that platform was red. Oh, slow down a bit, I'll pull the power off a bit. I'm doing 126, going downhill. A few more wagons in the yard there, just north of West Ealing. So that was West Ealing that we went through just. Certainly going a lot faster than the 45, aren't we? Which we got to about 97, was it? I mean, which was speeding because the train's only supposed to, the actual train itself is supposed to do 90. Fast approaching Ivor at 124 miles an hour. There is a bit of a knack to trying to keep a consistent speed. I don't know if anyone watched my javelin video from yesterday, where I took an empty javelin down to Ashford, and see how I was struggling to try and maintain a consistent speed with all the different grade. But that is because it's a very, very unforgiving gradients. This is relatively flat. Another freight train in that there at Langley. Container train. So the other thing they brought in was advertising on the containers as well, which is good. That was new to this route. When they upgraded it earlier on in the year. That was for that 40, which I'm not going to go over. So again, it's another useless warning for me, because I'm not going over that 40. The signals are telling me I'm on greens along the fast. Oh, what is that in the distance? Oh, it's just gone green. Oh, looks like I'm catching something up. Did you notice that in the distance? I don't know if you could see it clearly on your device, but in the distance that signal was 2 yellows. It's just gone green. So now we have a steady climb from Slough towards Reading. So what I tend to do, more so on a 2+6 because I was more used to a 2+6, is I'd have it on notch 3, and it used to maintain a relatively steady speed. So overtaking a 166 just departing Slough. Got a double yellow there, so I've caught something, although it's gone green. So there's something ahead of me. Now whether it's another HST or it's a 166, could be an HST that stopped at Slough, or it could just be a 166 I've caught up. Could be a freight train that's been crossed over onto the fast. I think there is a few that do that. Oh. Oh. Typical. Well, I'm going to stay at a steady throttle. I think I'll just stay at notch 3 for now. Obviously, I'm on a verse signal, so I'm catching something up. It could have just been an HST that stopped at Slough. It's powering off. So I think I'll... Yeah. What's that green for? That's for the down relief. No, I'm definitely following something slower because that didn't even change the green, did it? So I'm going to keep the power off a minute. I'm not going to go too quick, because if I'm following a unit, well, they're only going to do 100. So no point me racing along at 120 miles an hour, 125 miles an hour if I'm just going to catch it up. I'm going to power off because I'm getting conscious that I'm going to start approaching single yellows. If it's a unit and I'm doing 20 miles an hour faster than it, I'm going to catch it up eventually, aren't I? So there's Taplow. Oh, the signal, the station before is Burnham. This is Taplow. The double yellow. 115. Still not clear into the green. So I think I am following something a bit slower than me. But not too much slower. I don't think it's a freight train, because I think we would have caught it up by now at this speed. See, that was a single yellow just cleared to a double yellow. So definitely, personally think it is a unit ahead of us. So yeah, you hear the horns going off because it's telling me we've got adverse signals. So anything below a green is going to have a horn to advise, to warn me. And if you notice as well, just to the left of the speedometer, you've got that sunflower, they call it. If you notice, it's now got, it was all black when I was on greens, but once you go to yellows or any type of you have to notify, it gives you a yellow, and that is to basically it's a reminder for you to go, oh yeah, the last thing I did was touch the IWS. Why did I touch the IWS is because I had adverse signals or I had a notification to slow down. So that's what that's basically what that's for. It's like a visual warning that you've had to cancel your AWS for some reason. So I'm slowing down a little bit now. I'm thinking if I'm catching up at 100 mile an hour in, then I might as well go at 100 miles an hour. Now obviously this is all very much me guessing, but I think I think what's happened is I'm following a 166 that's on the fast, has stopped at Slough. That's now chuntering along 100 mile an hour. So my sort of theory is, well, if it's chuntering along at 100 mile an hour, then I might as well go 100 mile an hour as well. There's absolutely no point me racing at 125, is that? So there's no point me powering up just to end up having to slow right down again. You might as well defensive drive in, pull back, try and maintain the speed of the train ahead if that is the case. Yeah, so there you go, look. I think we can pretty much establish it's a 166 and it's doing about 100 mile an hour. So let's get back to 100 then. And that I'm surmising, but I think that's what's happened. I've not done this service before, so it is literally a guess. But I like it when you do. Sometimes you can just be green all the way, and it can get quite boring. So actually, this is quite nice. Being able to do something a bit different. So I've not planned this at all, by the way. I haven't planned this service to do this. I'm just glad it has, because it gives it something more interesting. Signals are a little bit closer together here because we have a high-speed junction coming up at Ruscombe Junction. So the signals are slightly closer together, but which is why we're probably not getting full greens all the time. But I'm gonna, yeah, try and keep it a steady 100. Oh, you would not think that train's stopping any other stations now. They don't tend to put trains to stop at those stations in the middle of the day, at least. Now you see how close these signals are together. So this one's a single yellow. So in theory, I need to be being prepared to stop. In theory, I should be preparing to stop, but I don't think I'll need to. I'm going to slow down anyway as a precaution. But the next signal is quite a distance away. Now I don't know if realistically those signals are supposed to be that close together. And I'm hoping that in the distance I do start seeing another signal. I do start seeing a signal. There you go. Oh, let the brake come off. So in the distance, look, there is a double yellow. So to be honest, there's no harm slowing this down a little bit. It just gives us a bit of room. So what I can do now is I can, now that the brakes are pulled off, I'll power back up again. Yeah, so you see how close the signals were back there. That has meant that it is severely averse. But because there's such a long distance between this one, and we know we're following a train that's going along at quite a good speed, by the time I get to this, I'm hoping it'll be green. I've opened up anyway. I'm only doing, what, nearly 70 miles an hour. There you go, it's gone to green. So I would like to think that I might be on greens now for a while, because obviously I've slowed down to a point where that train has probably pulled far ahead now. So we'll probably be on greens for a bit now. So that's Ruscombe Junction. So 70 mile an hour junction crosses you over onto the relief lines and vice versa, crosses you back. All single lead, as you can see, they're all single lead junction, so it's literally the one crossover for either direction, which is quite clever because it's less points to use. The only thing is, the only sort of challenge of that is it's a single lead, so you can only have one movement over it at a time. But then it's not that busy a junction anyway. So yeah, that's slowing down a little bit there near Waltham has opened up the gap a little bit, and that train ahead is pulling away now when we're on greens, and very unlikely we'll catch it back up now. In fact, it's probably gone through, just approached to go through Sonning now, and oh, sorry, it doesn't do 100, does it? They do 90. Do you know what? I've just sat here thinking, no, they don't do 100, they do 90, don't they? The 166s. They don't do 100, so it'll actually be doing 90. But hey ho, it doesn't make no difference there because we are on the way. Hello, double yellow and adverse signal again there, so we've caught it back up. That probably goes with my 90 mile an hour theory then, although yeah, sort of thought, or the other option is that that's crossing over. What could be happening is that he's also crossing over at Kennet to go onto the relief lines, depending on where it's going, I guess. Oh no, it won't be, will it? Because it'll probably be like it'll probably be like a Great Malvern or something, won't it? Or a Worcester. And if it is, it should stay on the fast lines. We'll find out when we get to Reading anyway, because obviously we'll see when we get there. As you can see, I'm still powering, and the reason why I'm still powering is because I'm confident that, you know. So we are. That was a warning for the 90 mile an hour that's coming up. So I mean, I'm only doing 105 anyway, and I am on adverse signals. Actually, I'm on heavily adverse signals. I better put some brake on. Single yellow. I've got a red, look. Oh my god. Oh no, it's just cleared. Oh, I was very lucky. I was not. You see, this is what happens. You get complacent. How complacent was I? Because you're on running signals, so you get incredibly complacent. And now I've panicked and slowed down too quick. But do you know what? It's fine because we're on adverse signals. Next signal's red anyway. So that must be going right in. That whatever we were following has gone straight into the fast line to this side of the station, our side. But see what I mean? How complacent you can get. You're going along, you're thinking, yeah, the signal clear, and then you're like, oh no, hang on, I'm on a single yellow. So yeah, that's how complacent you get. Now I would have stopped, if I'm honest. The brakes are pretty good on the HST, but my reaction was a bit slow. Oh, what am I doing? What am I doing? Pressing the wrong button. Right, I'm signalled into the station now. Into one of the platforms, which is 50-60. So yeah, you've really got to concentrate when you're following another train. You can see the difficulties, can't you? You can see what you. So it must have been that HST. Oh, interesting. Because there's an HST there, it must have been that. Now you can come into these platforms quite quick, but when you've got a red at the end of the platform, especially this one, which is a bit shorter, I tend to be a little bit careful. Sometimes I just feel like it's not going to start. Because look, the stop board is right by the signal, so really trying to. Awesome. Oh god, there we go, and there we are. Perfect. That should be perfect stop. 500. Thank you very much. Whew. It's almost like I've done it once or twice before. So there we go. So that's. Yeah, so that was quite an interesting drive, I think. You know, and normally I can say that it can be quite boring going along, coming along here, but actually I think that was quite an interesting drive. It's one of the more interesting drives I've had with HST along this route. So there you go. So yeah, let's see if I've got a gold. I think. Well, I've arrived early and I've stopped in exactly the right place, and I didn't speed really. So I'm hoping that I've picked a gold out of this one. The only real reason why you might get knocked down is if you speed a bit too much, which can happen obviously sometimes, and sometimes you don't mean to. It's just how it is. Let's get these doors shut once the passengers have all got on. And that should be the end of that. There we go. Look, perfect. Where's me? Oh, hasn't told me what I've got. I'm just going to say I've got a gold. Ha ha ha. Right, well, thank you for joining me to watch that. I hope you found that enjoyable. I hope you also go and replicate that and see if you can do any better than me. Obviously, I'm not breaking or anything at all, but you've watched it. You might get a bit of an insight of what happens. But like you can see there, especially if you're on them signals, you can get so distracted almost by the fact you're on adverse signals, and then you get quite complacent, and then next thing you know, you're like, oh my god, single yellow, which. As you go along, you do sort of recognise the places where you will start getting adverse signals, especially when you're approaching junctions and stations where trains are slowing down or crossing over. So it's about being aware of where you are, and it's about understanding that I'm probably going to get adverse signals here because I'm approaching a junction or I'm approaching a station, or this train I'm following is also approaching a station or a junction. So it will knock me back a couple of miles. So a couple of miles back, I will be affected, and that sort of. If you think like that, you won't get caught out. So hope you found this video useful, and I will see you again soon. Thank you for watching.